Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas, brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. Braz, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I enjoyed our stream on what was it, day before yesterday, on
Yes.
uh, on chip strategy and everything. So if you want to listen to that, Mo has his channel called FPL Trophy on YouTube. So we did a little bit of not little, like an hour and a half of
Yeah.
brainstorming on what happens to the fixtures, game week 31 and beyond, what chips we can play, and things like that. It was fun.
Thank you very much, Braz. I really enjoyed it, and the feedback's been incredible. Apart from that
My
big shock.
broadband.
No, not even your problem. No, your game week 31 wildcard and the big exclusion. I'm going to leave that there's a spoiler, so let's leave that. How
Exactly.
did you think game week 25 went, Braz? We're not obviously going to go too much in a retro, just overall. Happy with it?
Very happy with it because I
Yeah.
thought going into game week 25, before I'd made my transfers, my team was not in a good shape. Like I was looking at it and going, Bruno's dropping in price. He's not delivering. João Pedro is out of the team. Indai is injured. Ismail Assar is not delivering points. And I'm looking at it and going, what is this? So needs must, I had to take a -8. I got rid of Indai. I got rid of Sar. I got rid of Bruno. All guys blanked. I mean, Indai was injured anyway.
Yeah.
Even João Pedro blanked, who I would have played if I had not taken the hit. And instead I get like my double Brighton, uh, shining armor in knight in shining armors, Clivert and Dango, who both got a return. And then of course Ollie Watkins, what a legend, 2 goals over the double game week, 15-pointer. So team looks a lot better, and I've made massive gains on the hit as well. So hits are bad, but sometimes they're okay.
I was going to ask you, Praz, is that something that you normally do in your management style? If there's too many issues, do you look to tackle them in one game week instead of trying to maybe do a -4 here, a free transfer next week, and prolong it over 3 weeks?
It just depends on the situation, right? I mean, this game week, it felt like the perfect time to take the -8 because both the Bournemouth guys were playing Southampton and Watkins had a double game week, right?
Yeah,
So it just felt like if you were gonna do it, like I could have not done Sar to Dango Otara, right? I could have said maybe save it as a -4.
yeah,
But Sar is playing Everton, Otara is playing Southampton. I definitely am going to do Sar to Otara in the future because I'm not free hitting. Sar is going to blank in 29. Just get it done. And that's, of course, it works out. You need to get lucky, right? So it worked out. But in certain cases, yeah, you have to get it done, like because it's needed.
yeah. Fair play, and it really went well for you. You could tell how happy I was with your Watkins goal. I was fuming about that. It was a very difficult game that to watch. And before we move on to my team, actually, your stance on the assistant manager, has it
No,
loosened a little bit?
it's a bloody rubbish chip. Like I don't want to see it ever again. Like, and it's not even that, it's not even like me wanting to support Liverpool or whatever because of the chip. Like, that is my biggest issue with it anyway. That when we play fantasy football, we want it to supplement our enjoyment, not that we start supporting different teams. The tribalism of football has to stay. Even if I triple captain Salah, I want him to score a brace but lose 3-2. Like, there's no doubt about it. If I'm captaining Salah and I have Trent as well, yes, part of me wants Liverpool to do well, but I'm not upset if Liverpool lose because it's Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I can also think of effective ownership and things, and it's not a high variance if Trent blanks. So you see my point. So there's
Yeah,
that
no, I
element
get
of,
you.
like, I don't care if Liverpool draw to Villa, man, or draw to Everton. Like, why am I upset? That's the first thing about it. And the second thing about it is a very confusing chip. Like yesterday when Ollie Watkins scored, right? I have Watkins. He's like 15% owned. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yes, get in. Like 3 bonus, a goal, that's 7. I got him for a -8. Superb. But then everybody else who has Emery has got 10 points now, or 11 actually,
Yeah.
for the table bonus, and now for the goal. So should I be celebrating? Should I not be celebrating? In the end, I tell myself I should be celebrating because Watkins is lower owned and Liverpool can still equalize. Then when Liverpool equalize, I'm like, "Oh, this is now perfect. Oli has scored. Now Oli's goal is more than the table bonus that people will get if Liverpool draw." So it's like you're not even watching the game. I mean, maybe that's me. I'm
It's
just
a
doing
roller coaster. It's a roller
men-
coaster, Praz.
mental calculation of, okay, if now Watkins scores the winner, that's going to be another X number of points, but they will get table bonus. I'm just thinking of shit like this rather than actually enjoying the game.
Yeah, no, I totally get you, and I think actually it's a good segue because we're looking at my team here. I'm one of the managers who had slot as well, so I was gutted double. being a Liverpool fan and slot, so we lost a lot of points there. I was really, really
But it's
upset.
not
That
the end of the
Darwin,
world. It's not
it's
the
not
end of
the
the
end of the
world.
world, Praz, but yeah, it's not the end of the world.
If I got slot and you got slot over the 4 games, which were 3 away games, 3 actually tough away games, Bournemouth
Yeah,
away, Villa away, Everton away, and a home game to Wolves, I think you would have taken 3 wins and a draw
yeah,
easily, right? So you're basically what you have lost is 3 points more than what you expected,
yeah.
because another win would have been 3 more points because you would have got 6 points instead of the 3 for the draw. It's not that bad. You know what would have been bad? Losing to Everton or to
That would
Villa,
have been really bad. Yeah, and it
giving
could have
away.
happened.
Yeah, giving away that Malins shot in the end. I was like, oh my god, like why am I in this position where I'm on my knees for Liverpool to not lose this game? Like, so
What
it
about the
could have
Nunes shot though, Prez? The Nunes shot.
that guy, man. That guy. I don't want to pile on because he's
No, I
going
know.
through a lot of social media abuse, but
Yeah,
it's not fun. Like he was never. Even last year, a lot of people were selling Watkins for Darwin Nunes, and I was like, I don't want to go there. Like I'm not interested in this guy. Like he's an exception. You know, when people say football is played on the pitch, don't look at statistics. He is the reason why they say it. That don't just look at numbers. And Chris Wood maybe is the other side. You know, one is
yeah,
Lex Luthor, one is Superman.
yeah.
So there's always two sides to it. He is the guy. He loses confidence. And what was actually really bad, and which Slot also said in post match, is basically after he missed the chance, he was terrible. There was another chance he had, which is not making social media, where he
Yeah,
was through on goal, and Martinez had come even outside the box to. Of
yeah,
course, you
yeah,
know
yeah.
about this. That I would say is even easier. You go around the keeper, you dink the ball over the keeper. There's many ways to score that goal. He hits it at the keeper, man.
He strikes me, Praz, as someone who's almost not in control of his emotions. Now, all the physical attributes and stuff look like they're there. Statistically, the amount of chances, the volumes, which tells me he's making good runs
Hmm.
and good choices. But the problem is decision making from in the most important part of football, and that's the taking the shot, is where he's weak and also mentally. So it's a big problem. We all know, to be honest, he won't be at Liverpool next season. So we're not gonna discuss him as he's not even FPL relevant. He was only relevant because he could have given us slot. He could have given us a slot win. So that's the only reason I mentioned him actually. But
You know, it's game state, to be honest. If Darwin scores that goal, who's to say Villa don't equalize? Like that game was so open
it
that
was toe to toe. Yeah,
I'm not too upset at the draw. I wasn't even too upset at the Everton draw. These are tough games, and it is what it is. What it is
but
with
this
this
is the
chip.
thing, Praz. When you're challenging for the league, those draws, it's weird because we haven't even lost. And yet it feels painful. These are good results. Everton away, the last game at Goodison Park, and against Villa is always difficult. But for some reason, when you're challenging for the Prem, it just makes everything like so much more worse. But I agree, they're not the worst results.
Yeah, yeah. And look, if you draw against City as well, now we're talking Premier League, not the chip. It's
Yeah,
not again the end of the world. It's fine. Like, it's if you lose, okay, some people start saying now Arsenal can cut the gap and they have a game in hand as well. It gets tighter, but then it's not too bad. It's people would rather be in this spot than not be in this spot.
agree. But I'm going to bring it back to our FPL teams. As much as I love talking about Liverpool potentially winning the Premier League, yeah, we'll
So
leave that there. Coming back
tell
to
me,
my
what
team,
moves
right?
did you make?
So I've not made it. Well, for last week's one. Last week, I chased the double game week Praz, and unlike you, who went for Watkins, I went for Rodgers. Typical of this season, your one returns 2 goals, and my one had a stormer in his first game against Ipswich. Realistically, the statistics were all beautiful, but no returns. And against Liverpool, he had that good shot at the end, actually. I think Allison had to make a save.
Yeah.
Where I was really confused. I'm like, I've got him in my team, but so I just ignored that one. But he was very unfortunate. Let's just say over the double game week. So that was the move I made last week, Prez. I chased it. I went for it. I think that's the only move I made, if I'm right. Let me look at my team. No, and Clivert and Kirkes. I've done 3 moves. I fully committed for it. So yeah,
Mm.
Clivert came in very early, and then
So
Rogers
you had
came in.
you had 3 free transfers. You
I
used
had
all
3
of them.
free transfers, and I used all of them, Prez.
Cool.
And remember, me and you had a big discussion whether I should go instead of Rogers. My option was to go Dango.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, sometimes
You
this
should have done that.
season, I know it's been like
No,
that,
I'm
Praz.
joking. I'm joking. I would have done the opposite. If I had the luxury, I didn't, because even now, as things stand, I'm just barely putting out 11 players in Game Week 29 with the transfers that I need to make.
Yeah.
You look in a better spot, so therefore, yeah, I get it.
But I'll tell you what, Praz, I've got the best resource here possible when I do the stream with you. And I should have just went with your moves. But me thinking, the double game week, let me have a bit of Villa. But anyway, it is what it is. So that was my 3 moves last week.
Hmm.
It was a decent game week. I think I still got a green arrow, which just about, if I'm honest, Praz, with an assistant manager. So it doesn't feel that good. But the way the season's going, I'm going to take it. We'll take that as a
Yeah.
positive. This week, the team, so I've got Sells in goal. Trent, Gabriel, and Kirkez. I think that back 4 looks pretty good to me. I'm happy about that. You could argue Trent versus City is going to be a tricky game. He was taken off a bit early. They're still managing him, but I think his performance was okay. He looked like he was good.
Mikalenko's points, expected points this week are higher than Trent's
That's interesting, but
by
I can't just.
0.2.
Yeah,
But I would not play Mikalenko either.
me
I'm
too.
with you. Yeah.
I think Trent's the kind of defender. I'm not sure about you, Prez. When I own him, I don't ever drop bench him. I think end of.
Yeah, I'm with
I
you.
can't.
mean,
you know what I mean?
scored a goal.
Exactly. You just saw him against Villa. People sometimes will question his defensive attributes and how he plays. No problem. I've seen him have a couple of stinkers, but when he's on the pitch and he's on it, and Liverpool are playing to his strengths, he's such an incredible asset. So that's the back 4. Midfield 5 currently at the moment, but I will speak to you about benching dilemmas. So Salah, Mbumo, Palmer, Rogers, and Kluivert. And up top, I've got Wissa and Isaac. On the bench, I've got Slot still there. Fabianski, Ndai, who's injured, Mikalenko, and Greaves. 1 free transfer prize and 1.6 million in the bank. Okay. So there's a couple of things a couple of dilemmas, I should say, I've got with you. First and foremost is the guy who I just bought in last week, chasing double game week points, and that's Rogers. Now, part of me is thinking I could bench him, like you said, Mikalenko, potential playing a 4-4-2. That's one option. I could get rid of him and go for Dango, my original choice, who I still like with fixtures now. I like him on 29 and I like him after. Okay. So that's one option with Rogers. My other potential move, Praz, as I'm considering, I could go Ndai. I've got enough money to go straight to Cunha.
Yeah, but this week you'd rather get the Bournemouth guy than Cunha. Cunha's away to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are home to Wolves.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, also not going Cunha gives you 1 more week to look at Mamouche. Like you may want to prefer Mamouche instead of Cunha.
Maybe if Haaland's injured, though, Praz, I'm not sure. Would you?
I'm just saying.
No, I agree with you. I agree. The more space you have to look at changes and give it an extra game week, you do get more information. But at the moment, so that's the 2 moves I'm considering. Mikalenko and Greaves, they're staying there. They're not going nowhere for now. But what do you think, Prez? So what do you think? Would you move Rogers? Do you think deal with him, or do you think sell him or bench him, or do you reckon get rid of Ndai?
So, in my view, if you're looking to do, look, there's one option that you do nothing, right? You could just say Rogers is fine against Chelsea and Ndai is on your bench anyway. You get 1 more week of info. But I'm of the camp that you're going to want a second Brighton midfielder anyway, and Rogers is blanking anyway. So in that case, do it. And I can only sort of recommend what I did, which is basically I circumvented Rogers and went straight. And I would say it was worth you taking a chance and going Rogers first. I would do that first. Only because you'll find out more about that third striker. Because remember, you already have Wissa, right? If you're not selling Isak, then your third striker is very important. If you commit to Cunha now, you're basically saying, I will not have Chris Wood. I will not have Mamouche.
Yeah.
And if I have to get Haaland, I have to sell Isak to get Haaland. So this is a big commitment to basically take that 1 striker slot and see which one that is going to be. Because maybe you don't get Cunha. And in game week 29, you realize, actually, I want Haaland for Ndai, not Cunha.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, definitely a fair. And me personally, I'm not too. I didn't think it was as urgent as fixing Rogers. The Chelsea fixture, albeit Chelsea have been struggling recently, Praz, I still did think Rogers' move. It was a double game week punt. After that, I was fixing, and I do think at the moment that's my favorite move. To add extra complication, Praz, let me just turn down my headphones. To add extra complication, I've only got one transfer, and now
Yeah.
we've got the discussion of potentially moving Slot. Now, I looked at the top 3 managers, I think, for winning games this weekend, and we've got a slide for it. I'll go to it in a minute, Prez, actually. This is a good segue. In fact, let me go to it right now, Prez. So I want to discuss, because that also comes into play. I was trying to look at the top 3 managers. Well, this one doesn't support my status, but I was looking at not just points predicted, but almost just the team winning. And I do think Slot will be there. I think Arteta, Slot, and is it Irola, the Bournemouth manager? I think they're pretty strong candidates for just a win. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not including table bonus. So I was thinking, should I do Slot? If I don't remove Rogers, then should I move Slot instead? Use the transfer there and just
Yeah.
leave Rogers for 1 week? Or I'm not sure which one's got more gains, which one's got more potential. Or do I take still do Rogers and then do the hit for Slot if I'm going to go for someone like Glasner, which is chasing bonus points? Does that justify it?
This is a very difficult topic, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
if you go to that box plot, like,
Oh,
shall I just talk about that? Because if you're
yes,
talking
please.
about assistant
Yeah.
managers, so this is a slight repetition for anyone that listened to my team selection video. But basically, I just love this chart so much that let me explain what this is, right? So on the x-axis, you have the teams: Arsenal, Leicester, Ipswich, Crystal Palace. On the y-axis is the expected points that they have in this particular week, right? So each of them is represented as a box, a vertical box. Now, each box is colored orange in the middle. That orange is basically the distribution, probability distribution of a 25% event to a 75% event. So let's look at Arsenal. 25% chance that if you're picking Arteta, you end up with about 8 points. So in 25% of the scenarios, because
Yeah.
it's very likely that Arsenal win. Like, their odds are about 75%. So it's saying it's very likely in a 25% scenario that you get 8 points, which is 6 for a win and 2 goals. 75% chance, though, that the ceiling is that you basically get 11 points. That even from 25 to 75%, it's not going to get better than that. I mean, your
Yeah.
best case scenario or the top side scenario here is that they win 3-0 or something. That's an 11 pointer. Then now you look at the yellow highlights, right?
Yeah.
Still, I'm in the Arsenal section, but you see
Yep.
these outside peripheral boxes. That's the
Mhm.
outer side. That's basically the outliers, the 5% to the 95% events. So what you say is, of course, Arsenal can still lose, right? So you can end up with a 1-pointer, or Arsenal can score a 6-0 win and then end up on a 13-14 pointer. But those are unlikely events.
Yeah.
So you see, the summary of this is that the orange box for Arsenal is small because your range of outcome from a 25% to 75% probability outcome is like 8 to 11. And the mean is that line that you see in the box. That line is basically what is their expected points
Yeah.
overall, which is like 8.5 for Arteta. Now you look at Leicester or Ipswich or Crystal Palace, they're all the same. They all look the same because their box, the orange box, goes from you can have a 1-pointer because you can lose 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, or you can have a 19-pointer because you can win 2-0. And so that's basically what it's trying to say, that your range of outcomes goes from 8 to 11 with Arteta to 1 to 19. But the mean, the lines that are in the middle of these boxes, they're actually very similar.
Yeah.
So if you played out this game week 100 times, the assistant people who pick Arteta as assistant manager are expected to score 8.6 points. The people who pick Ruud van Nistelrooy or Glasner or McKenna will score 8.3 points. So it's actually the same. It really depends on, do you have the thick skin to chase a 19-pointer at the risk of a 1-pointer? Or do you not have that and you just want to say, you know what, I'll take my 8, thank you very much. I will know that I missed out on a 19 potential pointer, but I also saved myself the hassle of a 1-pointer. That's all there is to it. There's no right
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I quite like that, actually. That you've broken it down for us. I'm still not sure, Praz. So in my position, let's go back. Let's go back to the team because of my actual dilemma here. Do you think in my scenario, Praz, do I stick with Slot and just go Rogers, the Dango, and that's it? Take the Slot points. I've had him for 3 game weeks and he's done not too bad. I've got a decent amount. Yes, it could have been much better, but it could have been worse as well. Or do I, as it's the last game week of this assistant manager chip, do I really roll the dice and go for someone like a Glasner, even though after what you've explained? And that would be a -4 as well. So I really am pushing the boat out there.
Oh, it's a tough question. I don't know how to answer that.
I know.
Because the thing is, you know, when we say who are you taking the hit for? You are telling me you're taking the hit for the manager.
It could be the player. Yeah, it depends how you flip it.
If I flip it and I say you're taking a hit for Rogers, yeah, makes sense, man. He has a blank coming up, you know, and you're getting
Yeah.
Otara who plays Wolves. Fair enough, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
does it make sense for Slot to Arteta? I think no. Like Slot to Arteta hit makes little sense, because if you go back to the box plot,
Yeah.
Slot's average is basically,
Ooh.
let's try to see if we can read this chart well.
Yeah, it's a bit small.
Slot is around 5.5. So he's like 3 expected points. His mean is 3 expected points below Arteta. If you're taking a -4 to capture 3 more points with no ceiling, there's not a huge ceiling. Like Liverpool can win, Arsenal can win. So that ceiling doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Then it's a bit, you're doing it for nothing. If you're doing it for the hit, where let's say you disagree with the markets are saying there's a 46% chance that Fulham win. You say, you know what? Crystal Palace are better than that. You can't say that, yeah, go here. So
Yeah.
here, basically, the markets are saying that Fulham have a 1.6 expected. No, this is not the one.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
back.
I know this one here.
This one.
Yeah.
So the markets say Fulham is 46% odds to win, which basically means 46% chance that the Glasner managers end up with a 1 or a 0 pointer, because they could
Yeah.
win 2-0 or 2-1. So, or 1-0. But you can disagree, right? You can have a feeling that, look, Crystal Palace are much better than that. Also, you can say that, you know what, 54% of the time I will get table bonus with Crystal Palace. So I'm more likely to get table bonus than not.
Yeah.
You can also have that view and say, if I get table bonus, and even if it's a draw, so let's do the math. If he gets a draw, it's 3 points for the draw, 5 points for a table bonus, and let's say it's a 1-all draw, that's 9 points. So you've matched Arteta anyway. So this is where the math is, and you're hoping that Crystal Palace pull out a win, which is 26% chance, but it's 1 in 4. It's not the end of the world.
I think it's not bad, actually, you know. I think that's a decent punt. Of all of the bonus managers, Prize, do you think he's the best one?
I think it's the same. Like,
You think
look at
they're very close?
Look at Leicester, right? So let's compare Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace have a 26% chance of winning. Leicester is 27%. So actually, theoretically, 1% more chance of table bonus. But
Yeah.
then Leicester are less likely to draw, which basically means that it's almost the same, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at Ipswich. Ipswich are the same odds to win as Crystal Palace, and they're slightly lower odds to draw. So, you know, what you're trying to say is there's not much in it. But yeah, I personally like Crystal Palace as long as Eze is fit. I am 100% not going to be on Glasner if Eze is out of tomorrow.
Okay. So that's quite important for you. That team news.
Very important.
Yeah, okay.
Very important.
All right. All right. So that's that. So that's realistically rounded off my conundrums in a nutshell, Praz. Apart from that, I think I'm in a okay position, the money in the bank, and I get a bit more money back next game week as well when Slot or whoever my manager is
That's going to be some welcome money, right? It's like winning a windfall. That money you didn't know you had.
You found some money in your pocket. Yeah, it's a nice feeling.
A tenner in your jacket.
It's gonna be nice. What I will say, another thing that's frustrated me a little bit, I'm not sure if you've been watching him, is Wissa. So I went early on him, and Brentford have been not too bad, and he's been okay, but I don't know. I'm not having doubts. He's here for the long run, so it's not an issue because he's playing game week 29 and whatnot. But just being a bit frustrating, dodged points, and if there's ever such a thing, when you watch them, Prez, he has to work so hard. When you watch him, do you know how he has to drop? But many times he's making tackles, Prez, on the edge of his box. And that always puts me off. When I bring my attackers from FPL, I try my best to get the ones who play for teams where they get given the privilege, like Salah. Don't run back. Your job is
but then there's two sides to it. Look at Cunha, how he plays. Cunha's doing everything.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it can still work. I wouldn't have that bias.
No, it can work. No, I know. I am really judging him harshly on the last 2 game weeks. And I've really watched Brentford with excitement. So obviously, you could see I'm doubled up on their attack. But I do watch him at times and I think, why are you making tackles in the edge of your box? You're not going to score here. Come on. But yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, that's my dilemmas for this week. You know what? I want to say to you, I want to wait to the last minute, Praz, but there is prices. There's a lot of prices going on. And just for those of you that we're recording on Thursday night, okay, just so you're aware, and there's a lot of price changes. Normally, I've let them go this season, but I did say to you, Praz, I'm going to start making. I'm going to start. I've
It's
lost
too
so
late to
much
chase
money.
prices now. Like now, you should not worry about prices actually. But it's fair enough.
I'm literally like every week I've been doing this, and it's not worked in my favor. People have gone early and have just reaped the rewards. I've been waiting there thinking, you watch, they're going to get injured. They're going to pick up. No, they haven't. It's not worked for me this season. But apart from that, I'm in a good position. The only other discussion, actually, before we go to your team, is captaincy.
Hmm.
Now, I know what you're going to say. Man City's defense, we saw them against Real Madrid. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. Once you score one against them, they're folding at the moment.
Exactly.
And Salah is, even when he's having a shocking game, he returns. But I was trying to build a narrative here, Praz. Is this a game week where I could go against them? You know me, I've been doing it a couple of times this season.
You
Is
can.
this a game week with Mbumo and, believe it or not, even I was thinking of Clivert. Is it a possibility this game week you could go against him?
I think Clivert not really, because Bournemouth, he's not a talisman, right? Okay, I know he scored hat tricks and stuff, but those are
Yeah.
like unlikely hat tricks. He scored hat tricks because he was just on a purple patch in those 90 minutes or whatever. You are hoping to get very lucky if you captain Clivert. I think, even though Wolves are a good fixture, I think it's between Bumo or Isak that you go. If
You
you're
honestly
looking,
think Mbumo because
because Leicester,
Clivert, I know. So you're thinking it's the fixture price there
of
because
course,
Clivert is integral to Bournemouth's attack.
he's integral, but they share the goals. Like,
They share the goals, but
yeah.
he's popping off at least 3 shots a game though, Price, and good quality ones, like in the box or edge of the box as well. Where in Bumo, some games you get him, Price, he's quite not frustrating. It's normal in football, but there are times where he's not really getting the.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying then don't do it. Like if you don't have conviction
Yeah,
on and
yeah,
taking on Salah,
yeah,
like next week is much more interesting. Salah's home to Newcastle, Palmer's
yeah.
home to Southampton. I think a
Agree.
lot of people will be scared to go against Salah. I'm I think I'm more likely to do it than not as things stand.
I will be, Perez, you know where I'll be. I'll be,
Mm.
I'm 100% in that seat, mate.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you said that actually, that you might go against. Interesting. But anyway, let's leave that one for next week.
exactly. Well,
Yeah,
we
let's.
won't have next week because deadline dilemmas is after the next deadline.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh, God, the
It's a
game weeks are
midweek
coming.
deadline.
So that's a good point. So we can touch on that a little bit. That's a good shout, actually. So yeah, next week I will 100% Prez. Any opportunity, I know it's not ideal, but I will be rolling.
No,
I'll be
I'll be
going
doing
for
it
it.
as well. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to take on Newcastle defense versus Southampton defense.
Yeah, totally
You have to
agree.
take it on. And if you get burnt, you know, for you to completely get burnt, Salah has to again smash it, which he can. But
Yeah,
Palmer also has to blank, right? Otherwise, you can also like Palmer can end up with a return. He gets bonus. You get 8 or 9 points. Salah scores 16. Not the end of the world. Take him
agree.
on, man. For
Yeah.
that chance, that Liverpool's schedule has been so punishing that maybe he gets slightly reduced minutes. But although it's Newcastle, he probably doesn't. But they have had some tough fixtures, and Newcastle home again is another tough fixture. Take him on, man. Like I feel home to Southampton, Palmer has hat trick in him. Not that Chelsea are flying, right? So you are taking a punt. I recognize it. You are taking a punt. But I
Yeah.
think next week is the week. This week, at least in my mind, I'm on a little bit of a hedge, right? So this week, let's say Salah blanks, and I've captained him. Next week, then I don't feel so bad going against him. If Salah smashes it, then I went for the right captain this week. And next week, then I'll be bold anyway. So you know what I mean? Like I'm trying
I
to
know
justify.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah, yeah,
FPL psychology is actually amazing. I know exactly what you meant there. Some
yeah,
might not get it. It makes perfect sense.
yeah.
And so, okay, captaincy. We're going to talk about a bit more. Let's go straight into your team, Prez. Here's you can take us through your team, please.
So Pickford in goal, who is nailed on clean sheet against Man United, who are in this battle for the who will come
Yeah,
15th.
yeah,
I fancy Everton, and then Gabriel, Munoz, and Trent. So a bit like you, like I was debating, can I start Mikalenko against Munoz? That was my debate.
yeah.
But you know where I am is if Everton keep a clean sheet, I've got Pickford.
I was about to say that, Prez. Yeah,
And if Munoz keeps a clean sheet, then all these guys who are going Glasner, I want that clean sheet from Munoz. as a hedge, a bit like Watkins when he scored against
Yes,
Liverpool.
yes, yeah,
So I want to play Munoz just because of that as well. And if Munoz concedes 2 goals, that means those people who've played their chip on Glasner has not worked out. So that's the thinking.
yeah.
Um,
I like the back four.
so then the midfield five now is getting a bit templatey. Like even if you do Rogers to Dango, this is basically the midfield, right? That people have. So for the non-free hitters, people who are not
Yes,
hitting
yeah,
in 29. It will be popular. And then Isak and Watkins. Like Watkins is good, man. Look, his numbers also are now up. The markets are now giving him the minutes that he will get because he's playing 90-90 over the double.
yeah.
He now that there's no Duran, you can just see that you have last season's Watkins back. Like and last season's Watkins on penalties.
Let's have a look.
So
Actually, the predicted. I want to look at the goal scorers. Let's have a quick look here. This is the shorter list. I've got the longer list as well, Praz. Does your Watkins is in there? He's just behind Mbumo. So
yeah,
yeah, it's actually a good. You're right. He wasn't just short term. He wasn't just a double. He can stay in your team. When's your plan for him to go, Prez?
yeah, I think he'll stay till Brentford. Brentford's his
Okay.
ex team. That's game week 28.
Yep.
Away to Brentford, Ollie scoring. So then he turns into Haaland. That's the plan.
Okay. All right.
But if something happens to him, he can go earlier as well. Like he doesn't have to be like Cunha next week. For people who don't have Watkins, playing Cunha and Isak is fine as well.
Let me go back to your team. I just wanted to look at that.
So
And
that's the forward line. I wish João Pedro was okay, but now I've made my move knowing that João Pedro was not going to start. And even if he was starting, who would I start him for? So I'm okay with João Pedro not starting for Brighton. If he starts and if he becomes a first teamer again, then I have a player for game week 29. So I'm happy.
you said you've made your move, Prez. You haven't made a
As
move
in,
in this team.
as in last week, I made my move knowing that I won't have to play João
Okay.
Pedro
All
this
right.
week.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, if I had done Rogers last week,
Yeah.
I would have done Rogers last week even with more conviction if I knew that João Pedro is a starter, because then I would have benched Rogers for João Pedro this week.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The thinking was I had to go for double Bournemouth mids because João Pedro is rubbish now.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
it
thing.
turned out right, didn't he? He didn't. Did he start that game? The last game,
He didn't start. He
He
had a
didn't.
one.
No. No.
He
Yes.
missed an easiest chance when he came on for a cameo. But yeah, 20 minutes. If you play 20 minutes, it's always low likelihood.
So your team looks, to be honest, in really good. You don't need to do nothing like you've already planned. You're not planning any transfers in your team. You've got 1 free transfer and 0.2 in the bank.
I could do slot to if Eze is fit, then Glasner or Arteta is basically what I'm planning tomorrow.
What's the percentage? I know you said so. If Eze is fit, say he is fit. Let's
If
make the
Eze is
assumption
fit,
he is
I
fit.
will probably do it because I don't know if you watched the FPL Wire. LR and I, Later and I had like a 20-30 minute discussion on it. And I actually listened back to it and I can see, if I look at the box plot, right? Or again, I have to look at it my way. I can say I can play it safe. Arteta gives me 6-7 points. You know what? I'm right now 13.5k or something. If I get a 0-pointer, it's not the end of the world. Like I
Yeah.
need to think about it this way as well. Like if I get a 0-pointer, it doesn't hurt me much. Like
Yeah.
whereas if I get a huge haul, then I'm in. Like I'm like very comfortable. So I'm getting round to it is basically where I am. But I need to see that they have a clean bill of health and Haaland is fit. Like if Haaland is not fit, I'm actually quite bullish on you guys beating them. Like because it'll be the same team that played Madrid, and they're tired. Without Haaland, they also don't have a pivot. Although Mamouche looked very good, but
He
it's
does
just
look good. Yeah.
Stones was injured in the last game. He limped off. If Haaland is also still not ready, like if I get the vibes that I can, for one last time sing "You Never Walk Alone," I might just keep slot.
This is what I like about this chip. I can get Man United fans, Praz,
This is what I
cheering on
hate about the
Liverpool.
chip.
I
This is
love
what I
it.
hate.
I absolutely love it at the Carnage.
Wait till Man United are good again, and in 5 years you play it on Amorim.
No, there's two things wrong with that. I'm not going to play it on Man United, and Amron's not going to be there, but we leave that one
And
there.
the assistant manager chip won't be there. Come on, say that as well.
I don't know. I think it's here, Prez. I think we were talking about it on my video midweek, and I think it's here to stay. And a lot of the comments were saying people like it. I know you're not the biggest fan, but that's a debate for another day. So overall, your team, you're in a good position. Actually, you don't really need to do much. And what about next week, Prez? Anything you need to do next week? Obviously, there's no more assistant manager. Next week is the team still set.
I'll have money to do João Pedro to Cunha next week. But when I look at the fixtures for my team next week, I
Yeah,
may
let's have a
actually
look
not
at
do
it.
that. So
Why? Why?
Bournemouth will be away to Brighton, which I'll play
Yep.
my double mids.
Yep.
Um, who else? Isak will be away to Liverpool. I don't mind him. You'll play him still.
He scored last
Palmer
time.
will be our captain, home to Chelsea, home to
Yep.
Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Salah and Trent home to Newcastle, which is fine.
Yeah.
Umo will be home to Everton, which is nice. Oli will be away to Crystal Palace. So I'm not going to bench any of these guys just to play Cunha. Now, unless there's an injury or there's a doubt or whatever, then I might do it. But at some point, I will do João Pedro to Cunha. Just doesn't have to be next week.
Agree.
I need to start
Yeah.
rolling again.
I think I will be able to do that from actually I won't, because if I'm gonna just say if I do Rogers this week and then I do next week, Cunha maybe comes in. But like you said, I need the information because that's a pivotal move because I lock myself out of moves. But I do like, I mean, look at Wolves, Praz. I've ordered this fixture ticker up until game week 32 and via difficulty, and they've got good fixtures, Wolves has.
Hmm.
You know, and he's a top player. I mean, the goal he scored against Liverpool just summed him up. Top player, and even when his team are struggling, he's almost doing a Salah. He just pops up with the pivotal moment, the decisive moment, I should say. So I think Endai to him does look good, but I will wait. I don't think this week that's going to be on the back burner. I won't do it this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bournemouth fixtures continue all the way through, so you can see why we've all been shopping there. So I can see your team, Praz, you're pretty set. Nothing really else to. Before we actually finish off, I think we've covered a lot of the talking points already, Praz. We have a quick look at the predicted goals and clean sheet odds, and just see if there's anyone else that any FOMO, any players that you think that you'd like to have owned this week. Obviously, Arsenal look in a lovely position, but the problem
Yeah.
is there's not
But
really. They've
who?
got so many exactly that, Praz.
Yeah.
They've got so many injuries. A lot of people have gone. Have you seen? And where is ownership's gone up quite a bit. The youngster, because
Yeah.
obviously it looks like he's going to start.
I'm happy to take him home with one of my Bournemouth mids, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
he's good, but he's not better than them. I don't think so. So, to be honest, this week I have FOMO on your guy, Wissa. I think he should do well against Leicester. He's not that well owned, but it's still something that you have FOMO on.
yeah.
Arsenal, I think you mentioned it well. Jimenez should have good potential, home to Crystal Palace. Brighton, whoever starts for Brighton, again, no FOMO, but I think that's a good bet. That's a good bet. I'm hoping that Chris Wood against Newcastle away is only like a brace, nothing more than that.
That's how dangerous he is. You're not even contemplating him blanking, Praz. You're contemplating, please, just not a hat trick. And he used to play for them, so that just almost
He
confirms.
scored a hat trick. I benched him last season in this fixture.
Did he score a hat trick against Newcastle?
He did.
I've already erased that from my memory because I didn't own him, and I sold him the week he scored a hat trick this season. So I'm totally scarred from Chris Wood. But yeah, I can see him scoring, but surely against Newcastle now. Come on now, Prez. Come on.
Brace is brace.
What are
is
the odds? Nottingham Forest predicted 1.1. Now, no, I'm not
so
having
that's
it.
1.1 is 3 goals for Chris Wood. Anyway, so then I think Spurs, people with Spurs picks, I think are good, looking good today.
I mean,
this
does
week.
anyone own any Spurs assets, Prez, at the moment? There's not much, is there?
I mean, the
Slim
answer is I don't
pickings.
have any FOMO this week, apart from Chris Wood or Wissa,
Always
or
so.
basically, one of those guys. Not really.
Yeah, totally in agreement with you. Yeah, I think I'm the same actually. Same, and I've got Wissa, so let's hope we can actually deliver this week. For you to say that, surely that's gonna sprinkle a bit of jam. And on that note, Praz, I think we're gonna end it there. We've covered everything needed to, and it's only the deadline's coming thick and fast. We're not going to be obviously producing a video for Game Week 27, like you said. We're gonna miss that, so yeah, it's what it is.
Cool.
On that note, I'm gonna say, I want to say good luck to everyone. Praz, anything you want to say, mate?
No, good luck, everybody. Deadlines are thick and fast. It's a Friday deadline, so you probably are listening to this on a Friday. So make your transfers quickly or decide on your assistant manager quickly, and we'll see you next week.
Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.